All the decisions I made under heavy duress or emotional stress have cost me a fortune. Big mistakes.
I think entrepreneurs need to be more impulsive.
Make sure you don't get so logical and need every I dotted and every T crossed that you never make a decision.
Rise and shine!
It's espresso time.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but when you start your day with an inspiring routine every day, like maybe watching these videos, it will change your life. So good morning, know that I believe in you, grab your coffee, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Kevin O'Leary.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Did you find yourself in situations where you got angry or you got mad or you didn't agree with somebody when you knew that you were right? And how do you deal with your emotions? I'm curious to know.
Richard, what a fantastic question. You're absolutely right. Your emotions can be your best friend, but also your worst enemy, because when you make irrational decisions that are based on sheer emotion, you're often making the wrong decision. And yet emotions are part of your intuitive gut feel. You have to understand them. And I find the best way to do it is don't be impulsive. I get pissed off too. I get angry. I get elation. I get all of those things too. But what I've learned over time is not to make decisions under the influence of any of those emotions. Just delay the decision until you can be rational, maybe sleep on it, get up in the morning, have a coffee and think about it. And if you're not comfortable yet, don't make the decision. There's always the option to do nothing for a while. And the only way you're going to learn that's through experience. All the decisions I made under heavy duress or emotional stress have cost me a fortune. Big mistakes. And also, revenge is a stupid emotion. It makes you do stupid things. Be rational about it. Doesn't mean you can't, be pragmatic, but being motivated by hatred or fear or anything like that is never a good outcome. In life it happens. You got to deal with it, but you have to do it rationally and pragmatically. Don't get caught up in emotion. Simply wait it out.
I think entrepreneurs need to be more impulsive. I think you have to listen to your emotions even more and go all in on it, because you are being too pragmatic. You're being too safe. You're listening to your head too much, and it's keeping you small. Those great ideas that you have inside you that need to come out, that are in service of others, are not, because you're being too rational, and your head is designed to keep you safe, keep you small, and keep you playing safe. That's it. The challenge here is, which emotions do you listen to? When you're in a place of negativity and stress and overwhelm and anger and sadness, you should not be compulsive. Listening to those emotions will likely lead you down the wrong path, will likely lead you to a path of regret, of doing something that you wish that you didn't do, saying something that you wish you didn't say. When you're overrun by negative emotions, right? Grief, stress, anger, revenge, hatred, all of those. When you make decisions from those emotional states, you're gonna lose. So yes, in those situations, you go be more rational, take some time to think about it, sleep on it, come back to it the next day, take a breather, right? That's what you need to do. But when you're feeling bold, powerful, confident, unstoppable, amazing, and you make a decision, you have to listen to those, because sleeping on it is going to be your biggest enemy. There are times where we have to use our brain, right? Again, if everything in your body is telling you, I have to go and rage on this person, right? That's when you need to use your head to say, no. Stay safe, stay small, stay quiet. Let's be more rational on this. But when you've got your big dream, when you've got an idea that you want to work on, when you're feeling that boldness and powerfulness and confidence, and you make a decision, you need to say, head, come along for the ride, we're doing this. Because so many entrepreneurs live in the land of procrastination, live in the land of I'll do it tomorrow, live in the land of I'll sleep on it, and then they never do it. You never do it. And I've seen it over and over and over again in every country I've visited, and almost every entrepreneur that I meet. Procrastination is one of the biggest questions that I get asked. How do I beat procrastination? How do I beat procrastination? You're spending too much time overthinking, over-planning, over-preparing for something because your head is keeping you small. Last night, I was doing my live stream, and I do a daily live stream with Zen Demand Smith. I play League of Legends, we answer business questions. EvanCarmichael.live if you want to go check it out. And at the end, Zen and one of the people in the comments and I were going in this kind of three-way circle trying to help Zen, and it got heated at times, and it got frustrating at times. And at the end of it, when we said goodbye, I felt like I wanted to help Zen more. I wasn't happy with how it ended, and I wanted Zen to know that I loved him. So I spent the next hour reviewing one of the videos that we talked about, and I gave him my assessment and my breakdown. And my head was telling me, you know what, Zen will be okay. Zen's always okay, it'll be fine. Cooler heads prevail. Tomorrow will be another day. Everything will be fine. And that's true, it would be. But my heart was saying, I love Zen. I want to show him how much I love him. And so I spent the next hour working on something that I knew would mean a lot to him. And then I sent it to him, and he saw it. And this was at 11 at night. So I had other stuff to do. I had to wind down. I had to take the dogs out. I had to read my book. I had to get ready for bed. But no, I pushed that aside to spend an hour helping Zen. And his feedback was amazing. Thanked me so much. Couldn't believe that I spent that extra time to help him. That was a gift from a great place. And of all the things that have helped me in my career as an entrepreneur, I spent so long playing small. I spent so long playing safe. I spent so long in doubt and fear and insecurity and worry that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't do it, that I didn't have the education, that I wasn't smart enough, that I'm not extroverted enough, that I just couldn't do it. I spent so many years trapped by those insecurities. And my head would tell me to play small. And one of the greatest gifts of all time was shifting to, I'm going to be more impulsive, and listen to when I am feeling, again, from a positive place, bold, powerful, loving, caring, compassionate. When I feel something, to do it. Just do it. It's almost always the right thing. When you're overrun by negative emotions, it's always almost the wrong thing to do. But when you're overrun by positive emotions, it's almost always the right thing to do. Will lead to amazing success in your business life, in your personal life. And I've learned to start to trust those signals. And so maybe just add that extra filter. I'd encourage you to add that extra filter, because you could probably think of lots of opportunities that you've said no to that you wish you didn't. That you were feeling bold and powerful, and you had this idea and you wanted to do it, and now it's a year later and you still haven't done it. I get it every day in the comments and in my DMs and in emails from entrepreneurs who just wish they had started and they don't know how to get going, and they've been sitting on this idea for over a year. That's a problem. So use that as your filter. Before just defaulting to saying, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start January 1st. I'm going to start on my birthday. Run it through the filter. Ask yourself, am I feeling positive or negative? Am I feeling like things are possible? Or am I feeling everything sucks? And let that be your guide. When it's everything sucks, life is terrible, I hate this person. Hopefully that's not happening too much to you, but if it is, then sleep on it, breathe, relax. Don't send that text. Don't sign that agreement, just sleep on it. Breathe, you'll be okay. Go out in nature, get a walk, breathe, meditate, play some piano, hang out with some friends, whatever it is to bring you back to normal. But if you're feeling bold and powerful and unstoppable and excited, and you want to give, you want to help, you want to create, you want to make, use that energy Use that energy. The best thing you can do is use that energy. Start today, even though it doesn't make sense. Launch that podcast, write that book, create your first YouTube video. Call that person, start that routine. Say you love them. Use that energy. Because if you don't, you'll regret it your whole life. Knowing that you could have done something, you had a chance, and you were just afraid. When people say they procrastinate a lot, it's for one of two reasons. The first reason is you just don't like the work you're doing. And that makes sense. You know, if I had to shovel all of these people's driveways, you know, I'd probably procrastinate on it because I don't like shoveling snow. And so the answer for that is you can't long term. You know, you can only force yourself to do what you hate for so long before you give up. People say, do whatever it takes. You won't do whatever it takes. You'll quit because you don't love it. The number one rule for success that I've seen over and over and over and over again is that you have to love what you do, period. That's how you win. You'll never win doing work that you hate. So the first reason why people procrastinate is they just don't like doing the work. The actual process, not the end result, the process of doing the work. But the second thing is they're afraid. Second reason why people procrastinate is they're afraid. They're afraid. You're afraid that it's not going to work out. You're afraid that it is going to work out. You're afraid that nobody's going to see your videos. You're afraid that people will see your videos and what they have to say. You're afraid. Again, we had a guy last night on the stream too who was asking about procrastination because he wants to be a writer. And he scheduled time in his calendar to write. He's like, great, I put it in my calendar, strategic, here I am, I'm writing. And then when he sits down to write, he procrastinates. It's in his calendar, he doesn't do it. He avoids it, he does something else. He goes and watches TV instead. Well, why? Let's break it down. What's going through your head? You're about to sit down. You got your hands on the keyboard. You loaded up a fresh Word doc. You're about to type. What's going through your head that's keeping you small? And he said, it seems too big. It seems like it's too big an idea for me. I can't do it. And so he's just afraid. People procrastinate because they don't want to do it or they're afraid. And that's why we need those moments of boldness. That's why we need the shot of Entspresso. That's why we need the confidence and trusting that the ideas that come to you when you're feeling bold, powerful, unstoppable, amazing, caring, loving, are the best ones for you, and you have to be impulsive on them because otherwise you're not going to take any action and you'll play safe and play small your entire life and then regret it. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy, but before that it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action in the next week? When you watch a video and you just get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of following through. But when you get motivated and actually make a plan of action for what you're gonna do, you go from 35% to 91% chance of following through. And when you commit publicly, like in the comments below, you jump to 95% chance of following through. I want that to be you. I want you to be the person who actually follows through. So question of the day is your single biggest takeaway and your plan of action for the next week. Let me know down in the comments below so we can celebrate you.
Let's talk about writing books because I'm working on my fourth now. I'm hating every minute of it, but I think it's going to be my best. But I always say that about every book. How do you do yours?
This book came when I was on tour last year, and I was hitting the city every 4 days and doing a speech in front of a group, and the questions that people asked me, I just kept like a note of what people kept asking me over and over again, and then it turned it into
and you got, thematically, you would get some very questions over and over again that people had, right? And you'd say that is a kernel, that's an important question, because they keep getting it all the time. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I was on tour and people kept asking me, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? It's like the number one question in every city across America. I said, well, that's pretty easy. You don't have to sit on top of a mountain for 10 years or hire a $20,000 business coach. You know, there's a 3-step process to find your purpose. And I just guided them through it. And then everyone's, hey, pick me, do it with me. It's like, okay, well, I'll turn it into a book. And that became Built to Serve.
Sounds good. I got to read that book now. That sounds pretty good. I got to find my purpose. I've really enjoyed our time today. It's
great.
You're a good guy.
Thank you.
I'm going to endorse you. That's fantastic.
If you know the product you have, the service you have, the love that you have, the person you are, if you know it's authentic, it's real, it's the best on the planet, then you have to do everything in your power to get people to take action. I say this all the time, but the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner years ago, they said, if you build it, they will come. They won't come. They just won't. There's outliers that every once in a while somebody builds something that goes viral. But most of the time when you see a product that's working, you see someone who's evolving through a company, has a great relationship, it's because they know how to be persuasive, they know how to sell. But I want to teach you two things today. There are emotional buyers and there are logical buyers. And if you are just attracting one or the other, then you're doing everyone a disservice. So think about an emotional purchase. If you ever watched an infomercial, if you ever bought that tiny little hose that is like this big, it's a tiny, it can fit in your hand, and when you plug it in and you screw it on, you turn the water on, it gets 50 feet long, right? When you see something like that, you make an emotional decision. You got 2 minutes, like that hose looks great, and you buy it. That's an extreme example, and maybe it sits in your garage, you never use it. I guarantee there are things in your life you bought making an emotional decision. That's okay. We need emotions to move us forward. So some people are not, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but some people are irrational buyers. I'm an irrational buyer. From the top looking down, when I see something I like, if I go buy a new car, if I walk on the dealership, I see the car I like, I want to leave there in 25 minutes with that car. I'm irrational. I'm emotional. If I'm watching a video online or I'm at a live event and I see something I like, there's zero. I'm not waiting to research. My heart tells me it's good. My gut instinct tells me I'm good. I'm buying it. So I am an emotional, irrational buyer, but that's only a small percent of the world. Then I'm on the extreme of, I'll do it right now. I make quick decisions. On the complete other extreme are buyers who have to be extremely logical. That means if this sounds good, this car looks good, but I'm going to go home, I'm going to research it, I'm going to ask anybody I know if they have a car like that. I'm going to go check the rating. I'm going to see how many miles per gallon it gets. I'm going to see if there's any flaws, is there any recalls. And some people will just do that logical searching all the way. So that's the extreme. So what I want to share with you today is when you're selling anything, when you're persuading someone, it doesn't matter, again, if it's getting a promotion from your boss, it's making more money, it's selling your product, your service, I want you to think of attracting and fulfilling both of them. You need to get people emotional. People don't make decisions without being emotional, be connected, feel moved, have a feeling inside. But then if you cover the logical part, for those that want to overthink, then you can really compound and exponentially grow your sales. So for example, this past weekend I was at an event and I spoke on stage and I offered a $16,000 mastermind. Incredible training, worth every dime. There were the irrational, emotional buyers like me who took action immediately. I would have taken action halfway through the presentation. But then there were some people who waited until the second day. And some people that are very logical waited until the third day, last minute, right before they walked out the door. And the sales were about equal, the emotional and the logical. But here's the thing I want you to be careful of. In your own life, make sure you don't get so logical and need every I dotted and every T crossed that you never make a decision. You never pull the trigger. Every year, like I'm gonna, I should have, I would have. It's because you probably have beliefs from parents, beliefs from teachers that you need to research, that you need to look before you leap. I have the thoughts of jump out of the plane, grow wings on the way down, because he who hesitates loses. So two things I want to share. If you're selling, if you want to fuel your company, your life, you want to persuade people, remember some people make emotional, some people make logical decisions. Merge the two together, sales will increase. In your own life, don't get so logical that you missed out on amazing opportunities.
If you want another awesome Kevin O'Leary video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Most people think, oh, I'm going to start a company, 2 months later it's going to be worth $1 billion, and I'm going to make a fortune. That is actually not what happens to 99% of people.
What is your version of balance? That's all that matters.
There's no balance in life.